Welcome back to the Watchtower Film Podcast, the film review podcast on the Towercast Network by Cinephiles for Cinephiles. Woo! Wait, I didn't get your woo.
I said woo.
Oh, was it in? So I didn't get your woo. Woo! We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, continuing and finishing, really, our request month. This
is the end of request.
This is the end of request month. This is how we're gonna finish.
A magnum opus.
We're never having a request again after this.
Yeah, I'm doubting the request one now.
It's a great way to start the year.
The way to end our faith in our viewers.
Jeez. Who knows? Who knows? Depending on who.
You guys invited me here, okay?
You just sworn you climbed in through that window and just like, hey, speed race.
Look at me.
Okay, man.
Do you think I can climb?
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We love starting the year this way, talking about your requests, and this is gonna be an interesting one. I know we're gonna have a great conversation about this. That's the point of this podcast, is to discuss.
Why is he sweating so much?
It's the coffee mostly. There'll be more of it. Don't worry.
I do the same thing, bro.
Love.
That coffee gets me, bro.
I got introduced everybody in the room.
Yeah, you are a little moist.
Oh, daddy.
Whoa.
Look at you. I can see him sparkling a little bit.
Oh yeah, he sparkles. He does sparkle.
Yeah.
When he's moist, he
From
sparkles when
one
he's moist.
sweater to another.
Can we not say moist so much?
Sorry.
Okay,
Are you
fine.
comfortable? Okay, you're wet.
Drippy.
Don't you dare say it.
What?
You look very drippy.
All right, hold on. We're gonna start with Mr. Ricky Rodriguez over there.
Anybody know Ricky Tan?
Ricky Tan. Anybody know Ricky Tan? Ricky Rodriguez, offering a fellow filmmaking perspective. He's a writer-director. My man's.
Heck yeah.
Welcome. We have a special guest also behind the camera.
I've seen that guy
My
before.
boy Steven.
Steven!
I don't know if you can see him on
Steven?
I don't know if you can see him on the like back camera
can.
because it's like angled down
My
a little bit.
lips
So,
is gone.
You can.
Steven, you gotta wiggle your way towards the mic. Just for a little bit. Just for a little bit.
Say hi to the
stupid
people.
son of a
Steven, say hi
bitch.
to the peeps.
What is up, guys? What is up?
That's my boy. Steven's fun fact. Steven's quite genuinely been working with Towers since our very first short.
Yeah.
I think, or at least our first feature.
At least when he didn't have a beard.
But yeah, he didn't have the Palomalu hair. He didn't have the beard. He didn't have anything. Okay.
Troy Polamalu.
And my
What a
man
name
says
drop.
has been a true blue like Tower supporter since day one. So,
Nice.
always good to have him back in studio. Mr. Austin Cannonball Taylor. Yo!
Cannonball Taylor!
That's my dog.
Woo! Scared me there.
Why?
He scared me for a second
No,
there. For a second.
I already pissed one person off. I didn't piss anybody else off. Mr. Young, thank you for joining us on the pod today.
Mr.
That a nice hat.
Cannonball.
Back to switching.
Back to switching, because my boy's switching.
He's always been switching.
He's going to switch up on me and murder me. It stabbed me 57 times. Mr. Jean-Eric Castro offering an acting perspective.
I'm just a diva.
He really is. Look at him glisten
Oh my god.
as he gets wet.
It gets moist.
As he gets moist. Mr. Michael Delal offering cinematography perspective. Do it, lady.
Do it, lady. All of it. All
What do I do with
I
my
think
hands?
Delal, for every episode, I'm positive we can cut a montage of Delal trying to find his catchphrase since like episode 1. You know?
Yeah.
Every episode.
Keep it wizard.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like Rick and Morty. Like Rick is
It's always something
constantly-
different.
No, you know,
Ricky Ticky Tabby.
I remember I was talking with like Jose in high school, and I was like, "Dude, you know why nobody remembers me? It's because I don't have a catchphrase." And he was like,
gosh.
"That's not why." And I
Tell
was
me,
like,
tell me high school.
I just gotta find
Tell me
my
high school.
catch. What?
Tell me your high school.
Why? Why is that
Tell the people
important?
your high school.
No, it's not important. Not
Well, you just
important.
mentioned it, so.
Well, high school.
Tell
That's
me you went
what
to
I
El
went
Paso
to.
Oh, I've
Women's
been there.
Academy. Come on.
Oh, you've been to there?
I've been to high school, yeah.
High
They got
school,
one
high
in
school.
every city in America.
It's high school. It's high school. Yeah.
Rock and roll high
It
school.
was like what is it? The high school, but it was like
Ha!
no.
Say what you said.
Pardon me?
Well, it was the Disney film.
was like
Sky
Sky
High.
High.
Sky
Yeah.
High was the shit.
That was pretty
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
actually, yeah.
Long story short, I kept trying catchphrases and I had less friends as time went on, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find it.
You know.
Wabinga, you know?
I like that one.
Yeah.
Hey, who's that guy?
We have Mr. Grizz in the building.
Hey,
The
hello.
King Grizz. The King Grizz.
Fernando
You
or
put some
Grizz,
respect
depending
on
on
his
how you
name.
know. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's like Francisco. That's fun to say.
Happy to be
but-
here. Happy to bring this film here
Yes.
and to tarnish all of the goodwill that I've created with you guys.
Hell yeah.
I'm very
Not in the
excited about
slightest.
this.
It's gonna
I'll
get
have
tested.
everybody know that
It's gonna get
we
tested.
we value Grizz's friendship so much that off air we're like, dude, we're still gonna be friends after this, right?
I know.
Like we're
We
homies,
inside
so
the
don't
waiver.
fucking freak
Hey, I
out
got
on
the
us.
gloves over there. I see.
Yeah, he's got some over there. No, but Grizz has been a good friend. Not only is he a good friend to Tower, a good friend to us, But he's a fellow cinephile. We love talking cinema with him. And I don't know, there's a lot of special beats in our kind of trajectory I'd say the last 3 or 4 years with Grizz, because when we would do our live episodes, shout out to anybody who went to the live episodes at
Hell
the
yeah.
Film Cafe.
Aaron and George's
Film Cafe, which we miss like so much, man.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But we would, that was Grizz showing up just randomly because he loves film and wanted to get more involved in film and the community and what's going on in the arts and stuff. And this was radio show Grizz, at least here in El Paso.
wow.
So he
That was
wasn't
before I
even
got
on the
on the air.
radio yet. He
Yeah,
was just
this
trying
is-
to get involved in the art scene.
This is when he just came in. He was like, "Oh, you know, Fernando.
yeah.
Hey guys, it's me, Fern.
It's me for
You can call me Fern Dog.
yeah, but he would
I'm workshopping it.
he would show up to those live episodes and he'd be the one, but first dude on the chair, giving his opinion on whatever we'd been covering. And we always just loved his vibe and we always connected. So from that to like him being on the multiple radio shows that he does here and in Nebraska,
Yeah.
and
wow.
and everything else from the barbed wire open mic series to
Yeah.
Storycraft, and all the stuff that he's involved in is just
Yeah.
really in support of the arts. And that includes very much film because he loves film, but music and poetry, everything. I
does.
mean, and Grizz is a huge supporter of El Paso art, so we value him for that. And last but not least, I think like I won't drag Tower into this fully in the sense that like on the director front, when my films are coming out or when my films are getting ready to do something at a film festival or we've hit some kind of like landmark in our journey,
Yeah.
Grizz is always there to be like, hey dude, let's talk about this. Either come on the show or we want to do a little write up, and he'll surprise me and he'll send stuff and they're the most beautiful pieces of like talking about my films like they're good. They're not, but there's like Grizz is just a huge supporter, so I always value that friendship. And again, we just get along. What you see here is what you see off the air. We have a great time. So
Thank you.
welcome back to the studio, Mr. Grizz. Thank you for bringing.
Thank you for
the stuff
having
we're gonna
me
cover.
here.
I'm your humble film servant, Carlos M. de la Torre, offering a writing direct perspective. And we're here to close off this request month with the Wachowskis Speed Racer from 2008, starring Emil Hirsch, Christina Ricci, Dan Goodman. God.
John
John
Goodman.
Goodman.
Susan Sarandon.
Sarandon, a lot of great cast. And this was an interesting one. You know, if you know anything about the Wachowskis, you know that The Matrix changed cinema in a sense.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But blockbuster cinema specifically, and what it did for the technology of film and techniques of film and stuff like that. And Speed Racer was an interesting kind of follow up to them wrapping up that
Emphasis
universe.
on
in a sense.
interesting.
But they did. I mean, they shot this thing in 60 days in green screen.
wow.
You know, in green screen, and then again,
Also, it wasn't on location.
no,
you mean
on this futuristic
they
They
world.
weren't really in
Yeah.
Casa Cristo. Jeez.
That always knocks me for a loop. When I went to Troublemaker Studios recently, and shout out to our friends there. They're amazing people. But I stepped into their main soundstage, and it's again just one big ass green screen, and they're like, yeah, we shot all of Sin City here, and I'm like, dude, fucking hey, like yes, it can you know, it's done more often than not. So. This thing is interesting, and I don't mean that derogatory. I just think there's a lot to talk about.
The way
in
you
terms
say
of-
it, the way it rolls off your tongue, it just.
we covered last year, 2 years ago on this podcast. We covered Documentary Month. We covered Side by Side, which is one of my favorite documentaries of all time, and it covers the jump from celluloid to digital in film and how that revolutionized the art form. And the Wachowskis were very much a part of that conversation because they were early adopters of digital cinema. And this was this is one of the first films that used HD, that used high definition digital cinema. So they were using these early Sony cams that were doing digital and shit like that. So there's a lot of revolutionary intent with the art form and changing that and adopting. It's like that thing. On the documentary, you'll see guys like Robert Rodriguez or George Lucas be like, "We've reached the top of the photochemical process. Whether you agree with that sentiment or you don't, I want to continue exploring to shoot on film one day. I don't want film to ever die. I don't want celluloid to ever die. This year in cinema has done well for that format, from the VistaVision to the 70 millimeter to shooting on IMAX film. I mean, film is very much alive and well." But what they talk about in this documentary is we're at the top of the photochemical process for celluloid, for film. And with digital, you're always at the bottom again. And I think that when you adopt the art form, and the format rather, you can continue to push it forward. I mean, look where the Avatar films are. Look what James Cameron is doing with the IMAX technology and performance capture, shooting underwater. I mean, everything is evolved, and I think it's in great part due to the Wachowskis going on to the unknown, and that's what '08 did. 2006 to like present is the exploration of digital and how they can keep pushing that medium forward. So, I mean, we're already at 16K cameras, these days and shit like that. So it's pretty crazy. And at the time, HD, we're talking about 1920 by 1080. We're talking about this standard that has kind of stayed. Anyways, without nerding out too much about the format, I think the Wachowskis, we owe them a debt of gratitude for that. And I really do wish they're in TV now, right? They're not doing a ton of film. They kind of broke up for a while there.
Well, they did the last Matrix, right?
Yeah,
which got mixed reviews.
The very meta Matrix,
the Resurrection,
which I think again fits with their style of like really taking these swings and using their work as like a metaphor for more grand things.
Same with Jupiter Ascending. I saw that one.
Was it Jupiter Ascending or Cloud Atlas?
Cloud Atlas is the one that
so that's the Wachowski movie, right? Did they do Jupiter Ascending?
They did Jupiter Ascending.
Oh my God, that's awful.
But I think they kind of parted ways for a while there, and then they kind of are starting to find their way back. I think in terms of the conversation of digital and giving somebody a big budget with an original vision, I think the Wachowskis should be trusted with that a little more. So we owe them a debt of gratitude, I'd say, to push the digital art form forward.
I have to ask this dumb question. Is it an original story?
No. So Speed Racer, Speed Racer is based on a 1967 anime.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You never watched Cartoon Network fucking growing up?
I showed a clip.
That's boomerang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Yes.
I showed
I was gonna say
right before where it's a.
I think a lot of people in our age range probably would know about it, just sort of based off of its, because it existed in the background of a lot of like the cartoon. Like you said, Cartoon Network had the flashback shows that they used to play.
How
And
fucking
all that
old is
stuff.
Emil Hirsch?
I don't know actually.
Because
I don't
Emil
know.
Hirsch talks about how I grew up watching Cartoon Network and watching Speed
man,
Racer.
I'm asking for the people.
But he looks young. He looks so young.
Fairly recently,
Very
because I remember that
That movie came out when I was in high school. So
When you were in high school.
also growing up, like I remember that at the end of Toonami, like when they would like start transitioning back into like regular Cartoon Network, they would show this one, and then they would show Astro Boy. So they showed those two, but it was
they both have similar helmets.
Yeah, it was like
a little bit of
starting
Aftermath.
to move back into like, okay, we're done with anime. Now we're gonna do like retro anime, if you want to call it that, and then they'd go into regular Cartoon Network. But so like I remember that. I remember that growing up. So
and then I had mentioned before, I think I talked about it just a little bit. There was also, if you're a big fan of Dexter's Lab, there was an episode of Dexter's Lab where they did the whole episode in the style of
The
this
animations.
and it was all based on a race that they were doing, where I think that at one point the volcano that the racetrack is set around bursts and they're racing away from lava and like a bunch of people are getting swallowed up by it. It's very silly.
But
yes, I remember this.
Yeah, and literally they do everything in the same style of the anime.
Pose, like
every even the way that they talk. See.
Yes,
cool.
I remember this. Yeah,
it's all they do everything the same way that the animation does it. They do it all exactly like the way that they talk, everything. And that was my introduction to Speed Racer.
Okay.
Yeah, because as a kid I'd never seen Speed
the
Racer.
Wheel pops off, right?
Yes.
Dude, I remember this.
Oh,
Because
wow,
it's supposed to be a soapbox derby, but Dexter is really, really smart. So obviously he creates like a really badass soapbox car.
Yeah.
And then Mandark, his nemesis, is the one that he's racing against in this, who is like the other person who's really, really good, you know? And then of course his dad is ridiculous, just like his dad was in the show. And it's fun. It's a whole ridiculous thing.
No, it's great. I vividly remember Speed Racer, the cartoon. And I was never a big anime to this day. I mean, these guys talk about the newer anime and stuff that's coming out, and I don't keep up with it. I mean, we covered things like
This guy's
Perfect Blue.
You don't watch Jujutsu Kaisen? Couldn't be me, a virgin.
Hey, shut up, Linux user.
Oh, okay.
Come talk to me when you stop using that operating system.
But anime has still found a way to create very original type of storytelling.
Yeah.
I know
And you know what?
Kiru
Even
is
now,
one of the-
it's inspiring a lot of big things, like Creed 3. You know, Ryan Coogler and
Oh, yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, huge anime fans. You know, they like
Well, I
incorporated
thought
a
it
ton of
was-
anime in there.
Michael be who directed 3.
Oh, maybe you're right. Yeah.
But that whole like final fight
The
sequence
fight
is very
sequence, right?
anime inspired.
And he said that too. And I know Ryan Coogler also says that a lot of his stuff is inspired by anime as well. And then even Michael B. Jordan fought to make his outfit as Killmonger in Marvel look like Vegeta's outfit.
Hell
So if you go
yes.
back and you compare them, they look that it's that
There's also,
Saiyan Prince
like,
outfit.
A lot of iconic like moments that are illustrated in anime, like in Akira, where
Yeah.
like the motorcycles, like
The Akira slide.
the Akira slide, and you see that everywhere.
It's
Oh,
art. It's
They
art
did one
informing
in the
art.
movie too.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they did it. It's not with a motorcycle. They did it
With
with
the
the
car, yeah.
It's art informing art. I mean, we talked about Kill Bill a couple weeks back, and how much that was influencing certain things, and vice versa, in terms of the manga. And
Real
the,
quick,
and the
do
anime
you
world.
love Kill Bill 1 and 2?
Yeah, I loved the hell out of them. I thought they
Okay.
were a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, I think when they came out, especially at that point, I was definitely in the realm of like I loved that sort of stylized hyperviolence type films.
Do you think
so.
like every scene was stolen?
Yeah, for sure. That's all Tarantino
Backfired.
does. Tarantino steals shit
Backfired.
from all of his favorite stuff, and what great artist doesn't, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With intentionality.
With intentionality.
With intentionality. I was having a
you feel like you
conversation
won?
with a
kinda
conversation with a
backfired on
friend earlier today about that very principle, and I think it's important to talk about because and shout out to Oscar. We were talking about the Oscar nominations and what feels right and what doesn't feel right, and we were talking about how Nouvelle Vague wasn't nominated and stuff like that, and we were talking about French cinema, and he asked me, he's like, have you seen Amélie? And I was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, he's like, what do you think? I was like, eh. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's so great. I was like, dude, I think like everybody overhyped it for me, and it was one of those cinephile films to like cross off your bucket list, and I was just very underwhelmed. And he had a similar take with you. He's like, no, but I saw it when it came out, and when it came out, it had an impact, and it impacted me. And I think that there's something to be said about that. That's why we constantly we constantly talk about like, hey, a film's gonna be great in its time, and it's important to accept that, and it's also important to revisit it. 5 years later, 10 years later, as you've evolved as a human, as you've evolved as a cinephile.
I also think that like the sentimental values that we all carry with films, like wherever you were when you first watched that film,
100%.
affects it so much.
yeah.
Because then like when you revisit them, if you're not in that same place, then you can view the film in a more objective manner, and then you're like, oh man, like I remember this being so cool, and I based my personality off it, and I bought the hat.
Again, something on this podcast we call the Walter Mitty effect. It's just that thing that we all kind of felt like.
Are we being dicks by like calling it that?
No,
Like,
it is what it
Probably
is.
not. No. It's because it's true. It's one of those movies where like the first time you watch it, especially if
Everybody-
you're in a certain space,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
no.
that movie really like it tugs on the strings of people who are in that space of feeling lost and wanting more.
Yes. And everybody who watched it, you ask anybody, they're like, oh, what do you think of the Secret Life of Walter Mitty with Ben Stiller? And they're like, it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
the best film ever made.
And then you
inspired
ask
me.
them, you ask them, what's the last time you watched it? Oh, like
Well,
10
when it
years
came
ago,
out.
dude.
Yeah.
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 And you rewatch it, and you're like,
Pump the brakes. Let's
See,
rewatch it again.
and I will not argue against the fact that like a lot of my draw to this is definitely nostalgia. And I'm not going to say for sure it's like nostalgia like, oh, this movie, got me through such an important part of my life or whatever. I just know that for sure when I watched it, there were things that I thought were way cooler, and for sure like that played into me watching this. But again, like I said before we started it, I've also watched this movie at least once a year for my entire
and
life.
that's what I was trying to get you on. I was trying to say like, is this one that you've seen and it was cool, but you haven't revisited in a while? And then you're like, no, I have. I got the paperwork to back it up.
Yeah. And
Step
that's
off.
good.
And
That's
I'm
why
like, okay.
your opinion in this matter is more important than this versus somebody who's like, nah, I haven't seen it in like 10 years, dude. It's like,
You want to
no.
knock out ratings real quick?
Let's do ratings.
Oh,
So
God.
Grizz,
God.
you get to decide who goes first in ratings and in what direction we go.
Ooh, and is it everybody behind the camera too as well?
You can point at any
Okay.
living person here.
Well, every single one of you guys all said that this was your first time seeing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting as hell. I'm ready for this.
Look at this.
It's Vin Diesel.
Getting flipped off by
No,
Speed
the
Racer.
audience can finally see the screen now. They're actually looking at it with us.
I'll show you my family, Vin Diesel.
All right.
ratings.
Well, you know what? Let's. I want to kick things off with the people behind the cameras. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Who's
whoever
going
wants to
first?
kick it off over there, jump for it. Let's go.
All right.
All right, Steven. Yeah.
Come on, Steve.
Oh, mans.
Hey, Carlos, give me a fun fact about Steven before he goes up.
Steven, I'll have you know, is part of the Palomalu tribe.
Wow.
Wow.
From Hawaii. Where's he from? I don't
From the
know.
Head and
Hawaii.
Shoulders tribe.
From the Head and Shoulders tribe.
Head and Shoulders tribe.
What's up, dog? What you think of
Into the
this?
mic. This is my first time on night.
No, you good. You good.
Not talking to the mic. Come on, get closer.
For my first time watching this movie, it was pretty good. I'll probably give it about like a from 1 to Q.
1 to 10. 1 to 10. You can use decimal points if you want.
We could do like a 6.5. It was pretty
6.5.
Hey, hey, that's not bad.
Man,
That's not bad.
that's
I can't even see
what
that
the
low,
hell?
bro.
I don't hate that. That's
Hey,
a good,
that was pretty good. 6.
Damn, that's way low.
God.
Ew.
All right. Is there anything
I think
like
6
you
is
could briefly
respectable,
like
okay.
anything specific that caught you or that you know like
I got through high
guess
school with a
it-
D,
I guess
so
it just wasn't my type of movie. I did like it for like how Grizz was explaining before we watched the movie. It was like all the cuts, the very the dynamic scenes and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It was very cool, but it just wasn't my type of movie.
all right.
Well, what is your kind of movie?
yeah. Like, what are some movies that you do really like? You come back to a lot.
I'm kind of more of like a thriller type, like more like suspense.
I was thrilled by Speed Racer.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Fincher
yeah.
says
Like
this
more
is
like
his favorite
suspense.
movie of all time. Are you going to argue with Fincher?
Sorry, Steve.
Well,
I'm sorry, Steve.
Give us like your, if you can. I know it's hard for some people. Your top 2 favorite movies.
Or even top 2 favorite right now.
Top 10 all time right now.
Yeah. Just give two.
First time, long time.
Look at
recent
Carlos, but talk to
thrillers. I like
Grizz.
the Black Phone, the first one.
Okay.
The second
I haven't
one.
seen it yet. I heard it. I've heard really good things.
I
about
didn't really enjoy the second one as much as the first one. The first one was definitely better.
Yeah, the second one got a little.
And another one off the top of my head, I really can't.
You were
Yeah, I
talking
can't.
about Black Bag recently, right? That
Yeah,
maybe that's
Black-
something you should check out. Black Bag.
I'm
It's
gonna
like
start
shock therapy.
singing.
Sorry,
Grizz.
guys. Sorry.
It forces
sorry.
you to stay still.
It was
No,
the headphone. The headphone shocked me. I think I'm holding on to the
No,
metal
no,
part.
it's
so.
funny because I think it just like hit here, so all of us were like, I'm gonna punch you.
Fair point. 6'5".
Hell yeah!
Grizz,
Thank
who
you.
goes
Thank
next?
you. Well, we're gonna keep it behind the desk. So you rock paper scissors. Whoever, which of you two wants to go?
Better be on your camera.
Rick or Austin?
You go
Rostin.
first.
Rostin.
Rastaman.
Rick, what's the right answer?
No, it's Austin.
Austin, what's the right answer?
Cannonball Taylor.
Ask me again sexually.
Hey.
Call him
Hey.
Oh, I got this, Michael.
What's
I got
the
this.
right
I got
answer?
this.
Hey, Cannonball.
Austin, what's the right answer?
Oh, damn.
You
I don't
dropping
know if I can
violin.
give one anymore.
Brought to you by 93.1.
Kiss FM.
Shut up, guys. Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah, man, we
cut that out.
Hey, Grizz, you're gonna come back, right?
Yes.
Lower than
Because you want to come
6'5"?
back.
Grizz, the amount of faces I saw Austin make was
Listen. I respect it. I understand. Again, I've been showing this movie to people for years. It is a critically reviled film,
the
and
amount
it
of
is one of
eye
my
rolls that he
favorites.
I heard something.
It is one of my
I heard
favorites.
something to the effect that I don't know if it's Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes or somebody. They gave it a 4. They're in the 4s. They're in like
Yeah, but
42%.
that's
Yeah.
probably a bunch
Really?
of old.
I mean,
So-
the
critics.
audience rating is like a 60%, and the critic
man.
rating is terrible.
But
so,
like-
and I rarely meet people who've even seen this movie. So, no,
If it
whatever
makes
you
feel
say,
better-
I understand.
If it makes you feel better, we covered a film, one of my favorite films of all time. That's similar. I saw it when I was young. I love it. Across the Universe is
No.
it's in the same realm. 60 for audience, maybe 40 for critics. People fucking hate it, and I
Yeah.
love it. So
When-
it's,
It's
when was
you know
the
it's a
last time you
Beatles
watched it?
movie.
Let me.
yeah.
Did you watch it recently though?
Austin.
We covered it on the podcast recently. didn't we?
I'll just say this, Grizz. With my intention when giving a rating is the importance of this film in the history of cinema.
Mm.
I'll give it a solid hard 6.
Okay, you know what? That's not what I was expecting.
These
So I'll
get
take
degrees,
that.
son.
I'll take that.
Y'all careful, don't step on those numbers, right?
I think that's a fair one.
Rick.
Mr. Rick,
What's happening?
I'm gonna agree with Steven.
Rick-
I'm gonna go 6'5" as well.
6'5".
Okay.
Steven.
Okay.
I don't think in any way this film is atrocious or horrible.
No.
I think it's dizzying in the beginning. I think the last 30 minutes was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
That entire half-hour sequence at the end
Yeah.
was outstanding.
I felt that because you guys were everybody was quiet
In the last 30
Yeah,
Did you
it was
notice
like
that?
everybody
The
was
last
quiet
30
and
minutes.
watching, and I was just feeling that moment.
Even
I was
like-
very happy about that.
Even like when Austin was like, I'll be right back. It's like, well, pause it.
No.
yeah, and I appreciated that. I'm glad.
It was immediately
we have
after
to do
he
that.
came back. Immediately after that,
Yeah,
we didn't
Yeah,
see
because-
nothing.
it was when they're building the car.
I'll say this, Grizz.
third
like
time.
peel back the curtain moment. There's sometimes we're watching it, and then like depending on how the movie's going,
it to shreds.
like somebody will say, "I gotta go to the restroom." It's like, yeah, just keep playing. like,
Genuinely.
like
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
have,
yeah.
we'll
Well,
have
by the
those
way,
movies.
that's what I love about this podcast is for the most part, again, peeling back the curtain, we try to watch the film together.
Yeah.
Right before the episode.
We do a lot of things
I get mad when we
together,
don't.
right?
We don't. That's not. It's behind the camera though.
Zoom in
No,
on
but yeah, we
no,
do
cut
try
that.
to watch
Do it
the
again.
film together immediately after. Immediately before the podcast, and like whoever we're gonna have on as a guest, we try to incorporate them in that vibe too. It's like
Yeah.
we get to see each other's reactions immediately to something.
Yeah.
And it's something really again the movie going experience, the communal aspect of it all. It's something really special. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
I was
it's cool that
touched.
you were witnessing in real time like
Yeah.
our reactions.
I love it. I mean, we're movie people. You want to
yeah.
show people a movie. You want to watch how they watch it. We do it
Grizz was
instinctually.
right here, just looking at
I was
him like.
staring at Carlos, just right on his face, like, "Do you like it?" My nose was touching the sweat coming off of your
I was
forehead.
behind you guys, and it was exactly like a speed racer like, shot. It was Chris, like coming in. It's like, what do you think of this shot, Carlos? It's like,
My head would keep transitioning, and it would transition to a new face. I'm standing next to somebody different.
That's great.
Now you're in this side.
That's so good.
who do you think's gonna win, Carlos?
What do you
not
feel
cinema,
like,
though.
Cannonball Taylor?
And I respond like the announcers on the film. Well, not cinema this time, Grizz. But Rick, 6'5", you don't think this is inherently pushing the needle forward in terms of cinema, but you had a great time watching
Oh,
it.
I think there's a lot of things that is pushing cinema forward. I think.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you make this black and white, and it's easily Sin City, and I just think it's that balance that it's not kiddie enough for kid film. For
yeah,
kid
it's
film and
kinda
not adult. to
Has
be
a hard
adult
time
film.
finding its identity,
Maybe
right?
that's
I
why,
agree.
but the visuals are impressive. The first 20 minutes is like you can't. I can't see anything because everything's just flashing by you. But once it starts, like it's really good. I don't think in any way it's a trash film.
Let me ask you something while we're on that topic, because I think we're all kind of curious about it. I remember Grizz saying, and I agree with you in the sense it's packing so much in the first 15 minutes, but it's setting it up extremely well. You immediately connect with the family. I think there's a ton going on, but I do think you're right. I think I could be wrong, but I think any 10-year-old will get lost in like, why are there two cars and like what's and we quickly understand like, oh, that's pretty
Right.
clever.
Yeah.
It's flashing back and forth and the brother and this and that.
Racing the ghost
It's
of his
cool.
brother, yeah.
It's cool. It's so cool. But I think a kid would be like, the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Maybe it was struggling because with anything you're gonna make like a film for kids, you got to keep their attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that much. And you can't make a 2 hour and 15-minute film for kids.
Right.
So it's obviously not a
Sure.
kids movie.
And we
that's
can get into that
nowadays.
more because we talked about that scene specifically, one of those very pivotal scenes in the movie where it's cutting between Royalton, the CEO of the company, and the kids, sort of running through the
Right,
factory,
right.
right? And so I think in any other film, you probably would have just seen that whole sequence. But it's a kids' movie, so you have to sort of intercut it with, and at the same time, we'll get there. But at the same time, there's there's some
No, I
little bit of
remember- I
important
remember
information there.
The first act, I remember thinking to myself like, oh man, this is interesting. It's making me feel like I'm watching Willy Wonka. And those are the vibes I had of like introducing the world. And it's not Willy Wonka's not a sci-fi thing, but it's or like
I almost like felt it was borderline Dr. Seussian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe even mixing those two
I saw
worlds.
Grand Theft Auto online.
Grand Theft Auto.
Online.
Brain rot. Just,
All the crazy tracks and shit. People making all these custom races.
yeah.
All right, 6'5".
6'5". Okay.
Who's next?
So then we'll take it here. You know what? I want
You
you
wanna
all
start
battle
with-
to the death. Who's gonna go first?
All right.
I'll go first.
All right, go
You'll
for
I'll
it.
go first.
Where we at,
Excited,
Castor? Where we at,
excited
doggy?
for your
All right,
review.
let me unpack this. I'll start off with the rating. 8.1.
Okay.
I really liked it. I liked it.
Wow.
Wow.
I liked
Wow.
it. There's just a couple of things how obviously it just kind of fell off. But I kind of like that.
It was a movie.
No.
Bare minimum.
I love how it's fast
I
paced.
kind of like how there's motion pictures. Like it's a moving.
I like
the
the
character.
color.
I like the zebra at the end.
No. I liked it. It was fast paced. I just didn't know what it was trying to be. Like if it's for kids, for adults, or even like the fighting at the end. It got away from racing.
And they started cursing a lot more in the third act
Yeah.
They're really picking the intensity, okay?
because he became a man.
You curse more when you're passionate.
So no. I really liked it. Going off
I
of
learned.
what everybody says is just what I really didn't like. And it's not the character. I like the character. I just didn't like the acting.
Emil Hirsch?
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like his character was good. Like it was well written. He's got a nice little arc of like he's doing this for his brother, right? That he didn't die for nothing, right? So that's his arc. But
The acting.
the charm, it wasn't there. You know, that charm.
I'm gonna toss this out there. I have a question for you, and we'll get into it a little more. But before we move on, just because you're on the subject of Emil Hirsch, I have a really hard time. I can never say like I don't like Emil Hirsch. Like one of those guilty pleasures for me is Girl Next Door. I love it.
Yeah, that's
and
hard.
and it's fun and it's funny, but it's his character's also. But it's his character is very convincing. It's very apt. It's very like on brand. But I always have a hard time putting my finger on Emil Hirsch. The choices that he makes as an actor, the roles that he picks, and I think it's just hard to cast that dude. I genuinely think it's hard to put that dude in a role.
Why though?
Because he looks too young for the parts he gets cast in, or he looks too old for like, or like for instance, I thought he was pitch perfect as Jay Sebring in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Pitch perfect, but it's a small role.
Yeah,
he doesn't really get to flourish. I think as Johnny in Alpha Dog, it's kind of like, I don't know, dude, you're the badass. You're 5'2". You're the badass. Like there's
Wolverine is very short.
Yes, yeah, but it's really with Tom Cruise is 5'2". In cinema, they make him look like he's 6 feet tall.
he's not 5'2".
He's small.
He's very
How tall is Tom Cruise?
He's 5'5".
He's shorter than you.
No, yeah, for sure.
That's one of my favorite lines in Entourage is Ari's like, it's movie magic, man. Tom Cruise is like 5'2", but on cinema he looks like Yao Ming. It's funny, dude. But I think Emil Hirsch is kind of hard to cast. I will say, I'm guilty to not have screened Into the Wild. Is it Into the Wild?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
It's a good movie.
And
It was
that's
really good,
that's
yeah.
what I hear is where he shines, right? That's where he actually performs.
He
right?
does very well.
So I've seen clips of it, but I think Emil Hirsch is just hard to cast, dude. I think it's hard to put him in a specific. He's very specific. That's good when the right role comes along, but you can't just place the dude in anything. However, I will say, I don't know if you disagree. I think what I liked about this is it was a restrained Emil Hirsch.
But why
And
though?
that's harder acting in my opinion.
But why?
Because
Maybe for the cartooniness.
that's the way
of
the
it, you know?
character's written.
Well, that's why I want to say I like the CEO. That villain, he's
Yeah.
got charm. He kind of like
But,
stays with you. Like
You know, like looking at certain moments in the like Speed Racer cartoon, I feel like we see a much more confident Speed, but they do keep that essence that his only focus is really to just win the race. At all costs. And he's really good at it. But I feel like the movie almost felt like a prequel where it's like, well, what gave him that drive? And then we're seeing the whole thing about his brother. And, you know, even the Grand Prix, he's never really won it. Or that's kind of implied that, you know.
That's his first time going.
It's his first time going. So I feel like we're supposed to see that kind of speed racer. A speed racer that he doesn't have the charm yet because he doesn't have the confidence yet. He's just trying to be the best
And
he
I think
can
that's
be.
I think that's where the restraint comes from.
and I'm not talking about charm like charm. It's just that
Something that makes you want to draw more towards him.
But that's
like, you know, obviously we're rooting for him, but I'm talking about that factor where it's like
I'll say this.
that coolness.
How-
I don't know.
What would you say? What would you say then? Because there's that. I agree with you. I think there's a lot of lines that he says that feel like held back. Exactly like you said. They feel like a withheld Emil Hirsch. But I think there was one scene where they allowed him to go full on, and it's that scene when he's in the office with the CEO and he's telling that story about his dad and the racing. In that moment, he is so sincere and he is so warm, and it's a completely different acting than the rest of the movie.
I will say I think it's working for him in this particular. I'm not. I saw the cartoon growing up, but I'm not familiar with it anymore. I think that's the way the character's written. This character's more enigmatic. He's an enigma, and that's why like if we were if in some parallel universe Speed Racer got nominated for Oscars and Emil Hirsch was nominated for Best Actor, we'd be questioning that decision. Like, he's barely in the film, dude. Like, he's not really. We don't really see, dude. We see the world around, dude.
Right.
And I think that's the point of the character is he's an enigma. He's so fast, so legendary.
It's also more of a story. I'll say this real quick. It's also more of a story about that family and that company because even though Speed is like
for sure
the main one,
he's the anchor.
That's why he doesn't sign the contract because his dad.
We don't like focus. Like, I never once felt like, oh, this is more about him. Why is the family here? Every time he would go back in, he's able to blend into that ambiance.
And I will say they set that up in the beginning. They let you know that this is going to be a movie about the family, that this is going to be about them.
So that's why we're rooting for him because of the family, not for him.
I mean, of course, for him and the things he's experienced, right?
I think what humanizes him is the girl. That's what
for
he
sure.
wants out of life, quote unquote, right? Like, yeah, sure, it's to live up to a legacy, it's to defend his brothers, but it's also just like to be a dude and like fall in love with the girl and kiss her at the end of the race.
Here's a good example. I also saw a lot of Ready Player One.
Yeah.
He had charm, and not charm
Sure.
like yeah, he had confidence, but he had that thing where it's like, oh, I remember that character.
I think what you're talking about is
I remember the CEO, not the.
we were having a conversation about this, like just in people, main character syndrome, right? But like just the main character aspect of somebody, like the main that Speed didn't really have. But I agree. I think if anything, Speed the character is the anchor to the whole film, to the family, to the villain, to everything. Speed is the center. He's the nucleus, but he's not the main character. You know what I'm saying? The world is the character, the family.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it is. And I think we were kind of bamboozled a little bit. I think we were tricked into saying
with the name Speed Racer, like the movie, I think you want it to be more about him being everything. Meaning like we're gonna stick with him as he goes through lulls and
correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that just an anime thing? Isn't Dragon Ball Z? Everyone thinks it's about Goku. It's really not. It's about
spends
everybody.
a lot of time focusing on the ensemble, the cast that exists to support that main character. Yeah,
but Goku's the one that kind of keeps it going. Yeah,
it's the
the anchor.
The anchor where it draws it back to him eventually. But I don't know. You guys see more anime than I. Isn't that kind of feel like that's not just an ensemble cast? It's like an anime.
No, you're right.
I don't really watch anime.
Bullshit.
What?
Dragon Ball?
I don't. Go ahead, name one.
I can. You can.
K-pop
That's the
demon.
thing.
K-pop demon Slayer.
I haven't seen it.
is that an anime?
Okay.
It's a Korean anime.
Yeah.
But no, 8.1. Strong 8.1.
Okay.
Strong.
I love
Because I
that.
liked it. I really did like it. It was good. It's just
And
I don't know what's trying to be.
Honestly, and you got to give it to Susan Sarandon and John Goodman though, because they fucking killed it.
Oh, I was talking about she could still get it, but yeah.
And John Goodman can get
Hey.
And like Carlos said, John Goodman could do no wrong. Like
He can.
He's such a
can.
good actor.
I mean, by the way, is it just me or am I crazy, or is it because like my wife loves the show? But did he not remind everybody of the dad in Young Sheldon?
Oh, I've never seen it.
yeah.
No, I don't know.
I love that guy
It's
too,
like
though. He's,
the exact type of role. Like, and he's wearing the red shirt, polos, and he's like, it's the archetype like dad doing a blue collar job thing, you know?
Yeah.
but before you go to your rating, I'm trying to answer the question like, does it push cinema forward?
Does it?
I think as we continue this conversation, maybe there are things that we'll bring up that I think are important. I think it does, and especially again, it's one of those moments where we have to look at it in the time that it came out, right? Sandwiched right between Iron Man and The Dark Knight.
I was about to say that too. I feel like this movie, obviously, like if I watched it as a kid, it'd probably be one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
I just think I'm too old to like
have fun.
Yeah. To get lost in that type of fantasy.
You know, I think I
see it
started
now for
appreciating it more as I got older. You know, like when I saw it as a kid, all I really saw was the Carfu and the
And
speed.
that's what it got
And I
me.
got ADHD, so I was like, this is
Carfu.
fucking incredible. You know, but then as I got older, there was more to it that just kept sort of popping up. And as I watched it more and more, there were themes that I saw being explored that I didn't realize as a kid because I didn't know that much.
Right.
The themes of corporate corruption, the way that sort of leads into different things. I never thought about more metaphors more deeply than just it's a car movie about a kid who's named Speed Racer.
You know what
and he's fucking driving.
What I think it maybe it's, and I always talk about Castro constantly talks about like, you got to pay attention for when it was made, and you're always pushing that.
I do, because we're talking about where and when you saw it.
But I think it's a blessing and a curse. I think films like kids movies at the time, things like Diary of the Wimpy Kid, and like the style of kids movies of that time, oversaturates any story element, any whatever, over visuals. And visuals that get dated, quite frankly. Like, I think that's what it is. Like, a lot of critics, and I was saying this while we were screening it, like, dude, I see fucking Spy Kids. I see Inspector Gadget in this. I see
Scott
the
Pilgrim a
Little
little bit.
Rascals. Scott Pilgrim.
But that's the best thing though. Like some of those came out before, but some of those came out after, and you can see a lot of Scott Pilgrim. You can see Scott Pilgrim
Inspiration,
definitely was inspired by this.
For
Yeah.
sure.
100%.
But by the same token, it was that weird thing that I think Robert Rodriguez couldn't escape when he's making nothing but CGI films.
Yeah.
It's that style. It's hyper realistic, hyper CGI that you know you're watching CGI. But it, we're like I'm a big Spy Kids fan. I love Spy Kids.
Yeah.
It's a weird. The third one is weird. So.
But it's
Spy
tell me
Kids
that you don't
3D?
think about Spy Kids 3D when you're
no,
watching this fucking film.
100%.
I will say though, what I feel and what I've always felt was that Spy Kids was sort of the beginning, right? And then the Wachowskis movies took that style,
Yeah.
and I feel like this is like the
maximum.
sort of apex of it, right?
Sure.
Like this is the like because I definitely appreciate Robert Jig. I grew up watching Spy Kids like crazy because it was Mexican,
Right.
people on the screen, and I love that,
whale's
especially
vagina.
growing up in a white town, especially growing up in Nebraska, where I was
Right.
surrounded by more white people. It was cool to have that representation
Yeah,
and to see that,
for sure.
and then to see this style that I was really excited about, that was created by people that I loved,
building on top
be
of
sort of building on top of that, yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
Where it took it and it made it a little bit more serious. Because honestly, if we're being honest, Spy Kids could have had the same feel. Spy Kids could have felt a little bit more adult because of the things that are happening in the movie,
Right.
like the plots that are happening,
Oh,
the
it
ways
does,
that they go about it.
It's the parents and the family, again, the family dynamic,
Right.
Of what's at stake here, right?
Yeah.
Is the family.
And there are moments too, like obviously, like Steve Buscemi and the people
Two.
always go to it in 2 with his line about, do you think that God stays in heaven because he's scared of what he created?
Yeah.
Like there are
Such a good
moments
line.
like that in Spy Kids that make you feel like, dang, this is crazy, but it stays more on the family
Two
childish
is
side.
my
Yeah.
favorite. by the
Yeah.
way.
Oh
I
yeah,
love
2 is fucking incredible.
And
Yeah.
in case people don't know, we were having a conversation recently about Mike Judge. Like Mike Judge is in fucking Spy Kids.
Mike Judge.
Mike Judge, the creator of Beavis and Butthead,
of
and
King of the Hill, yeah.
Like he plays a secret agent in fucking Spy Kids. Steven's wearing a Cheech and Chong shirt. Cheech Marine is in fucking Spy Kids.
Yep.
Danny Trejo's in Spy Kids. Yeah, man.
all
that-
these
that's
people,
what's so
and
cool.
as a matter of fact, right, Danny Trejo, that's where Machete came from, was
Yeah.
because that's who he played in that
Way
before,
before, yeah.
Machete even
Uncle-
happened. Yeah.
But then
Uncle
Cheech
Machete.
come out just to be like, I'm not your uncle.
I'm not your uncle. Yeah.
Rips off a mustache. It's like, okay.
Well, it's a
No.
good thing that's all he came out for. He could have walked out and been like, I got hairy pussy and pink pussy. I got all kinds of pussy.
That would have been.
Grizz, who goes next?
We'll
got two
keep
more.
it going down the line.
keep
We're
it
already
going.
moving, so yeah.
Cool. I already know my answer. It's going to be a 7-1. I don't think that this one should dip into the 6th category only because when it comes to contributions to cinema, like, sure, I think kids' films get knocked lower because you're almost having to like
You have to dumb it down.
You have to
Yeah,
add
yeah.
padding to the storytelling,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, like so.
I think the harshest moment for me, because it comes at the incredible like 30-minute end mark, right? Like when that whole 30-minute sequence is happening and everything is just fucking flowing and you're feeling it, is when they pop up and they're like, for the cootie viewers.
alert, yeah,
That
and then
one,
like dump down, you're like, oh god.
And that's why I audibly had to apologize to you guys for
Yeah.
that part, because I don't ever tell anybody about it. I let it be a surprise, especially when I watch it with like serious filmmakers, and I let them lead into it.
Yeah.
Pokey took your cootie shot because you're about to see one. Yeah,
And I think I don't mean to take away from that. I'm sorry, but I remember I heard Rick say he was like, "Why does this kid have so much screen time?"
Yeah, because it's a kid film. There has to
it's
be
a
a
kid
kid
film.
leading the kid
I asked the
film.
same
right?
question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael.
No, even like to that point too, where you feel like it's a victory for Speed to get to the end that he was able to. That they have a whole montage of him going into these different moments throughout the film, and I thought all the callbacks were really strong.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I can't give you the answer, you got to find the answer, and then Speed finds the answer, wins the race by God knows what, like how the hell he won it, because you're in the back and then you believe in yourself hard enough, you just go to the front.
Yeah.
like,
Right.
that's all. It
I
really
didn't
was.
understand that part either. Just logistically, what happened? What made the
Well,
car start?
so-
Santa's magic?
so
Or-
No,
You believe
apparently
in it.
there,
John
there was
Goodman
some-
says
see
it.
it.
John
There's
Goodman
something
says.
loose, but apparently the get around is that you just throw it in 5th gear. But it was like, but does anybody know that? And then they're like,
Yeah.
no. So
But that's a callback to the brother saying, just feel it,
no,
okay?
this is perfect. I wanted to bring this up the whole time of the screening, and you're the perfect person to talk to about this, and I think it might inform your rating.
Yeah.
The amount of save the cat moments in this fucking film, dude. The amount of save.
You think so?
Yes, God, yes. Every 5 minutes there's a fucking save the cat moment.
Well, hold on. What's a save the cat moment?
Oh,
Explain. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like a sleeper agent that just woke up. So the say that guy moment. So
My favorite dinosaur.
it's we're not doing that. The save the cat moment is an idea that anytime you need a character to be likable in the movie, you need to give him at the beginning of the film, particularly, a save the cat moment. And the moment can be something simple, but it's something that shows that the character has humanity and is capable of doing a kind act. So it doesn't matter how shitty they are through the rest of the film, they have a redeeming factor. Think of like Scrooge opening a door for somebody, like, and then the rest of the time being like an absolute dick. Well, what happens is that because that moment that he opens the door for, let's say, like a kid or anybody, even if it's just for himself, but it's a small, kind gesture, now you want to root for him because you feel like, oh, see, there's humanity in you. You just haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
And like with every character, it's like if
BoJack, good, sort of trying to make you believe that he's a good character with all these little moments, but he's always a piece of shit.
Yes, exactly. So it's
reference,
I can see it in here, and I can see the save the cat moments. First save the cat in Aladdin. What? what is this? Oh yeah, there you go. It's kind of like
he saved the cat, or the monkey.
You know what? They need that though to establish it because he's a thief in the beginning, so they have to,
Oh, wow.
So that
they
was
have to let you know that he's a noble
saving
thief.
the monkey.
I forgot about that.
That was everything. Then after that, you're like, oh, he has enough good in him that it doesn't matter how bad of a person he like goes for the rest of the film.
Yeah,
he has redeeming factor. I can see that, but I also feel like it's there to remind you that even these ambiguous characters are doing some kind of good. Because later on,
it's a
when
sleight of hand. I mean, it's like this businessman, right? Like, oh yes, I can take care of your family, and I'm gonna
and I mean, I just think that because the pacing of it's so fast, and we're getting all these new characters so fast, because we went from all of a sudden it's just about the family, and now there's this conglomerate guy, but then it went into like, oh, there's another family, and they're gaining money and all this kind of stuff, and then like who's good out of that, and it felt like at a certain point in time it's just throwing characters at you, and you're like, oh, so who's good? And then they pick up somebody's plate. And you're like, okay, I like him now.
Exactly.
That was
Every
good.
5 fucking minutes, there's a save the cat moment.
But it's because I think they're just trying to cover so much ground.
Yeah.
Racing thing.
Hey.
No, I was gonna say that I know that like it being a children's film, they have to like pad a lot of the storytelling. So you can tell that they know how to write characters. They know how to write dialogue, and you see it in their other movies, especially like The Matrix. Like they can write these really nice stories, but for a kids film they have to have enough of those moments that bring young viewers back in. And I think the visuals that they bring in, that's the part to be talked about, because like much like you were saying, this is an apex. The fact that this is showing the maximum potential of something like green screening, every time you were like saying, oh, look, it's a split diopter shot. There was key moments that I would look at the framing and also what was in between. There's a specific texture. It's hard to describe that I can tell when something's a split diopter, and this was always digital.
Yeah.
And it's recreating a frame that's meant to mimic a split diopter.
It's emulating a split diopter.
Yes,
shot.
but it's always digital, and I feel like that's something where they were looking at moments and thinking, I want to do that, but we can do it more effectively digitally, because now not only can it be a split diopter.
I don't know about effectively, but like efficiently.
So I want to talk about that actually, and that was one of the things that the Wachowskis specifically had talked about when they came into making the movie. And one of the things that they wanted to do was capture that sort of the 2D flatness of animation. And so you know how there's all these sweeping shots of heads transitioning between scenes, and especially in the beginning when you've got all of the announcers that are talking about different things, and their heads are sort of like spinning across the screen as they're mentioning these things.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. That's where I feel like it's more effective. Not only easier, but the fact that like normally in a split diopter shot, you can't maintain the focus on that person and they can move. You always have to have them static. But because they're getting one plate with this character here and then one plate with that character there.
That bothered the hell out of me, dude. It bothered the hell out of me because I know how to shoot a split diopter. We've done it. It's something I love to do in my films.
Yeah.
A split diopter shot. But at least the first time we ever did a split diopter shot, we got the fucking lens, we got the filter to go on top of it, and the center is always blurred.
Yeah.
In this case, it's not. It's a non-blurred split.
There's never any blur.
Again,
I love it.
This is an exploration of the maximum of green screen.
And they were trying to emulate the animation, the 2D animation. That was one of the things that they wanted to be. And I want to say this too. Those heads, as they were spinning around, if you don't know this, the Wachowskis developed a specific new style of rig that they could use to specifically get those angles and those heads, and not have it have those extra textures, because they wanted it to be flat against the screen as it moved. And they needed it to look a certain way. And obviously, since they were one of the first movies that was shooting on digital, there was a lot of different ways that they had to go about trying to capture that. And I don't know this for sure. This is just speculation. But in the behind-the-scenes videos, if you ever watch it and you see the rig that they've come up with, it looks really similar to the technology that we see now on and I forget what it's called.
They called it a gimbal. They called it a gimbal. It's a human gimbal.
Yeah.
essentially.
Well,
That's how they were able to
but
get these
but
things.
the lighting rig and everything that they did, it looks, and again, this is entirely speculation on my part, but it looks like this might have been sort of like one of the precursors to the technology that they started using, that got blown up really on the Mandalorian. The sort of background technology, the way that they utilized that sort of those
rear
HD green
projection.
screens, the rear projection.
That's the thing. I feel like if it wasn't for films like Speed Racer, you wouldn't see both the good and the bad. I mean, like I think they definitely found a style, or they found something that they liked,
And they committed to it, and
they committed
Yeah.
to it. And they were saying, we're going to throw it at you 50 different times. But much like we talk about a musical, and when people want to dislike musicals, the first part is meant to throw you into the world. And once you understand the rules of the world, then you can accept the story.
And that's what I mean by committing to it. I mean, most people would bail halfway through. Most people would, we're going to do it, and it's gimmicky. That's when it becomes gimmicky. But if you commit to it because you're being intentional on the whirlwind, instead of seeing the classic cinema newspaper flying into the frame of what's going on in the world, they're explaining in real time with these announcers. And points to them, they use the original voice actors from Speed Racer as announcers.
I
You know,
love it when
so
they do
you know, it's
Super
cool.
cool.
It's
That's
cool.
cool.
But it's that thing too where like it's brave. It's a choice. It's a choice that they committed to as filmmakers. I think they were taking a chance. I think the chance delivered.
I think if it came out today, it would be a whole different story.
Right.
I think because of the way that people take in storytelling now, because of the ways that we experience visual mediums, because of how quickly social media attunes us to images and to the ways that we're supposed to understand things, I think back then people were not ready for this.
No.
I think now, if you like us watching it, it's a little bit easier for us to take in because we exist in this very fast-paced visual media world, and you have to adjust to the language of this. And there was I can't remember his name, but there was a critic who reviewed this movie, and he gave it a terrible score. He said it was terrible. He said it felt like the screen was stabbing his eyes by the time he left. When he came back to it years later, I think he literally just wrote this article maybe like a couple of years ago. The specific words that he used where he said, "Did I not like it then? No, but it often," he said, God, what was it? Something. The wording was like revolutionary or cutting edge work is often misunderstood when it's first released.
Speed Racer. It burns my eyes, but I kind of like it.
And I think this is the one that he came back to. I think this is when he came back to it and he talked about it and he broke down how there were so many things that he didn't, take in before, but the visual language of media, and this is specifically where he says it, has changed, and that the way that he took it in after years of not seeing it was so different, and it felt like a different film to him. And I think that's, again, I think if this film came out now, the visual feast that it is, and with CGI as advanced as it is now, this probably, if it was done exactly like this with the kinetic filmmaking, the ways that they made the car
It is
feel so
a
full.
visual feast, but it's a feast that like
intentional.
It's indulgent. It's like the feast in Spirited Away. It's like just too much to consume all at once.
It's a lot, and who knows? Maybe now with the technology, it could have been restrained in a way that made it feel more accessible.
I think it depends on your audience. I think people like us. I could be wrong. I think like I was telling Grizz off, before we started, that I think now I picked up a lot of intentionality right away. We review films every week. It's hard for us not to start picking up on stuff on a first screening. But I told Grizz, I was like, but you know what? It made me want to come back to it. Not right away, but down the line, come back to it to really, really capture what they were going for. And you do capture a lot of it if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
But for the general audience member, they'll watch this and be like, dude, this is too much. And then
that's a lot.
What the hell is going on?
Comparatively, and this will be the last point I make, so we can get the last two ratings. But comparatively to like a lot of kids' films, like I was telling you that I watched. I've seen the new Mario movie, and then I've seen like the Minecraft movie, and those ones as kids' films are paced so quickly, and I've noticed that what the whole point of them is that they need to give you all these striking visuals, and then they need to go like, if there's a plot point, it needs to get to the next spot really, really quickly.
Yeah,
we're just talking about that.
That's what they play with. It's in this medium, they just have to get you to the next thing. So like sometimes things will magically occur that just pushes them over to the next plot point, and it's not like it naturally resolved itself. It's just like, oh, he found a box, and the box is the portal to back home, so now he's back home, and that's all they need to do.
And I think this film suffers a bit, just a bit,
but not as bad as I think like today, or as bad as other kids films, because even in that moment where they're having the whole conversation about like, what should I be doing, they threw in the little monkey wrench of the kids and them sneaking to go get candy and then
Oh, you meant
getting
the
in
monkey
trouble.
because... Oh, okay, I got it.
Literally.
Yeah. What can I say? I'm kind of a pro. No, but they throw those moments in, and again, it's to keep the kids enticed and looking at a goofy little moment and a goofy little side story. But if you if you cut that part out and left the pacing that was going on in the other one, I think it works. Not perfectly, because the way that also the villain ramps up and it's like, oh, silly child, let me tell you why you're stupid.
Because he won't sign the paper.
But he committed on the performance, and then it really does become a conversation of like, what are you really fighting for? What's racing? What you think is a lie? And then that ends up becoming the contention for the whole film, is that like, am I really racing for cars and to win the race, or am I racing to help somebody else benefit financially, even if I don't understand these numbers and everything? So I don't know, like, it suffers from it, but it was also balanced enough that I feel like the perspective we all have is the adult in the theater with a child and being like, okay, am I going to enjoy this while he's giggling at all this dumb stuff the monkey does? Like, and you do. Yeah. Like, even this part, like, where he's touching a piece of scrap, like, and then it transitions. It's so fast, but I mean, at least there's a good story in it. So yeah, I'll give it a 7-1. It has a lot of fault just because of the genre it is, the kids film, but it also probably did a lot for them to experiment in the green screen atmosphere.
Yeah.
Carlos, quick rating, and then Grizz ratings.
Quick rating.
I'm just thinking we can knock it out because
no.
You tell me how to fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Quick rating. I'm gonna
You telling me?
I'm gonna go with a 6.9 on this.
Hey, no.
Oh
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a 6.9 on this. I think you're right. I think the story gets padded, as you mentioned, because of its genre. But I don't think it's just that. I think it's giving, two very talented storytellers an IP. And I think that's where the limitations come from. I think it's an IP that has a ton of potential. I think the storytelling of it, I think the originality from taking this kid's cartoon. But I think kids' cartoons are kids' cartoons for a reason. And I think when you're giving, look, the reason the Wachowskis did this is because, and I quote, paraphrasing, but I quote that they were like, we just want to reach a bigger audience, so we want to make our first non-rated R film. That's why they made Speed Racer, because they wanted to reach a broader audience. They wanted to connect with more people, and that's admirable, but they also made 3-4 rated R films right before this. They didn't have limitations of a genre or of a rating. So I think this limits them more than it helped them. It might have helped them reach a broader audience, but at the same time, this was the last kids film they made. They never made another, like, I should say, a general audience film, in the sense that they couldn't live in this world very long. This film didn't make its money back.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
They didn't find the audience that they were searching for. Although, albeit with the exception of fans like yourself who like really connected with this, grew up on this film. There is a cult following of.
What's crazy? The same I think year and like month that this movie came out, I think it made like 93 million. Guess what else came out and made 213 million?
2008.
It's a movie that a lot of people think about all the time when they think of cinema. It's one of those big ones. Ashton Kutcher and Cameron Diaz. You guys know what I'm talking about.
With the Vegas one.
Yeah, what happened in Vegas.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And grossed wildly more than Speed Racer.
But Speed Racer, they took a gamble on this, right?
Yeah.
Warner Brothers took a gamble on this, $120 million gamble, and this thing made 94 million.
What was one of those titles? The Curse of the Magic Hobo, or what?
What?
Came out as the top one. What's that?
The color of magic.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, because he saw the wizard, he thought it was a hobo. No, but I think they took a gamble on this, and it was a right. Look, they had been trying to make Speed Racer for 20 years before this.
Really?
In like 92, they were like already tackling a script, and they were going forward, and they were bringing in different directors. They were attaching a ton of people to this, and it just didn't click. When the Wachowskis got their success in the visual and their aesthetics and what they could pull off, they were like, okay, we're taking a chance on this with these people. The VFX artists that they use won an Oscar for The Matrix. So they were like, okay, now's the time to take a chance on this. But the Wachowskis, it's what I mean. A lot of people, when they're given free reign in the sense of like, here's $120 million, here's space to play in, here's the big world, which they played in the big world in the Matrix. It's like these people, they have a voice and they've developed a voice, and it's almost like, hey, that voice, we're gonna put restraints on it, and I think that's what's hard about giving, it's my contention with people like Chloe Zhao.
Yeah.
The most recently, she did Nomadland, which to me was a bit underwhelming, but it did well. It had something to say, and then immediately she did the Eternals for Marvel, and now she's back in the Oscar race with Hamnet. So like that's what I mean.
Shit.
Like you're giving somebody very quickly, like, here, you're good, so like we're gonna trust you with this big ass thing. Look at somebody like Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau took decades, literal decades, to get into the Marvel space and into Star Wars. That he wasn't ready. You think at the time that he made Swingers and they gave him a $120 million budget and said, hey, it's a kid's film, by the way. Whatever you curse with Vince Vaughn, you can't do that here.
Nah.
I think somebody like that needs to develop their voice a lot more. And I think by the time he got to Iron Man, now dude lives in Mandalorian world and he doesn't step out of Star Wars land very often.
As he should.
I'm not saying that's the best thing. I love Chef and I wish he did more of that. But I think it makes you a more well-rounded
He
storyteller.
did the Jungle Book?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think with the Wachowskis,
And the Lion King, right? The new Lion King. came out.
we don't
He
talk about that
directed-
one. But the Jungle Book was
Cowboys
great.
and Aliens, he did as well.
We don't talk about that one either.
What?
Grizz. Yeah,
My dad loves
like
that
It
one.
was right after.
Hey, every director comes with an asterisk.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But Jon Favreau, that's what I mean. He's a great example of playing these two worlds, doing something amazing and independent like Chef.
To be
and
fair,
Swingers.
he fucking loves westerns, so it makes sense that he'd do Cowboys and Aliens. And in Mandalorian, you
It's
can
a
compare it all day
Western,
to
yeah.
westerns, because that's where the references come from.
So this is what I mean by, like, I think the Wachowskis maybe were given this shot a little too quickly in their career. Look at what they did after. I mean, immediately after they did Cloud Atlas, which
Not great.
not
you
great,
know, didn't do well.
people liked it.
Yeah.
That's
you know?
George Clooney?
And because
Tom
of
Hanks, no? Or
Tom Hanks.
I think it's Tom
That was
Hanks.
Tom
isn't it?
Cruise.
And I know some people say that there's a little bit of a parallel between Cloud Atlas and Speed Racer, specifically because they talk about how after Speed Racer, the Wachowskis because this movie didn't do well,
Right.
They wound up going on to want to make Cloud Atlas, which is obviously a very wildly ambitious film.
Yeah.
And they wound up having to get a lot of foreign backers to give money to the movie, which is sort of how things play out in Speed Racer, right? He doesn't join the major studios. He winds up having to get his into the Grand Prix from a different space. That's dumb as hell, right? But
but yeah.
a little bit.
About
It's a
how
little
much-
parallel there.
How much of a cultural and cinematic impact they had with the Matrix?
Yeah,
And then-
literally, there are people who believe that there was a pre-Matrix era of Hollywood and a post-Matrix era
That's
because
what
of
I
how
mean.
influential it was.
But what saddens me from one director to another is to be like, did Speed Racer put that bump in the road that you guys haven't gotten past yet?
Maybe because if we look at the stuff that came out afterwards, it still wasn't like the same impact that the Matrix was. Granted, I do believe that Speed Racer had some of that impact. I don't think that it had the opportunity to bloom the way that the Matrix did. It came again. I believe it came sandwiched between other films that really left it in a separate space. And if we're looking at the time it came out again, I got to talk about specifically though, not like 2008 was a great time for this movie to come out because it's so different. Specifically, I mean, it was coming out at an era where people were taking IPs for children and making them these dark, more gritty, realistically grounded things. And then in the middle of that, literally The Dark Knight and Iron Man, two of the biggest movies that took that and
Based
ran
on
with
IP.
it based on IP that is for kids and turned it into realistic, gritty, action movies. Then you have something like Speed Racer that jumps out with, all of this color and all of this
But it
vibrancy.
teetered on the line, and I think that's the problem. I think Nolan was like, no, we're going to make this grounded, and we're going to make this, it's not going to be your comic book fluff film.
It's also
and it's not perfect, the Skyhook is fucking embarrassing. So
No, but even in The Dark Knight, like Nolan's looking at everything that's going digital and seeing that people are like really investing into it and saying there's a lot of potential here. And then that's when I feel like Nolan really got stiff and said like, no, I need to see more practical stuff in films. And that's what gives that film its texture.
He sticks to his guns. He keeps shooting on IMAX. I mean,
he flipped a whole truck in real life for that. That's fucking insane,
blew up a whole hospital. No,
Nolan can do no wrong. You shut your mouth.
I'm not saying anything bad about
I
Nolan.
think these are good things.
My point with this is that I just think and again, it's the weirdest catch-22 because though I agree that visually it pushed the medium forward, though I think that a lot of the development of CG, let's face it, in that era specifically, there's horrible CG, unbelievable.
Name
unreliable.
12.
I'll name 20.
Speed
But-
Racer.
Speed Racer. No, the
Damn.
CG is intentional. Even if it's bad, it is intentional, and not bad in the sense of like it's bad. Bad in the sense that just the technology just wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
But the intention was there, and I think the catch-22 is they pushed it. They needed to be the ones to push it forward. However, maybe if they would have made Speed Racer in 2015, 2018, it would have been a better film. They would have been better storytellers by this time.
Yeah.
But why'd you give it a 9.5, a 6.9 and not a 7?
Because
I feel like there's something.
because I'm on the same boat as Austin. I think that when we talk on this podcast, we're constantly looking at the pantheon of cinema, and this doesn't fall in
Yeah,
that
it's
wheel.
just gonna go in the Noah's Ark in space. Of film.
Exactly. It's not for me. Not for me. It won't go. We all constantly talk about
Space
leaving
Noah's Ark.
leaving 10 films buried in the earth for aliens to discover which 10 films are we leaving. In?
Oh, just 10 copies of Speed Racer.
Oh gosh, no.
Man, what a fuck you.
Yeah,
Imagine
or,
like,
or humanity.
and
that's an
a
ancient art
a
form.
broken
Oh.
Blu-ray disc of Citizen Kane. And that's
Oh,
it.
No, it's because
That's good.
The idea that
no,
like
it's because Grizz wants to leave one of every format of Speed Racer. A VHS,
It'll be
a
a
laser
VHS,
disc.
which never existed because it didn't come out in
HD
VHS time. There's gonna be a
They'll
laser
bury me,
disc
man.
that
I
I
have more cinema
specially
on my
made.
arm than leaving 10 copies of fucking Speed
I
Racer.
love the idea that-
Metropolis and Méliès and Casablanca just unbury me. Dude.
think about it. The aliens are gonna go and be like, what is this? And then see this like case of only Speed Racer and think like, this must have been where they laid waste and defecated. Okay, what else did the human race leave
I
behind?
love the Noah's Ark factor, though. I love the Noah's Ark comparison. But yeah,
Space
anyways,
Noah's
again,
Ark.
a long-winded way to say that 6.9 for me is just, again, comparing it to the pantheon of cinema. I think it has merit. I think it has merit aesthetically and for the technology, and the story isn't terrible. They're good storytellers. You do sympathize for these characters. You do empathize with them. You want them. You're rooting for them. But at the end of the day, it's like, oh man, they got me, and then get out of the way, turd. And it's like, fucking A, dude. Come on.
Trying to pinch out a
I'm
turd.
giving you a chance here, and you know what I'm saying?
That
I'm with
monkey
you.
better not smear it.
And you guys know how I work. I'm the mumblecore guy, so the dialogue here is pretty bad.
I'd say this is borderline mumblecore.
Fuck the fuck, huh? Fucking pardon me. No, I think the dialogue is pretty bad in this film, but it's a kids film. Most kids films have bad dialogue.
When are you gonna
Unless it's
grow
Pixar,
up?
you know, or
Also, very on par with a kids film that the villain would say the phrase "grow up."
right?
Yeah, he tells him.
That's
He's like,
It's like
you
wait, you're
country
dealing-
bumpkin.
You're dealing with a grown ass man who races, and it's like, grow up, child.
Yeah. So
Think of the stock
When are
market.
you gonna grow up and be a real race car driver?
you see how that's how they talk in the cartoon.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's my favorite. Just
I'm at a 6.9.
All right.
Grizz,
My man.
Grizz, the correct answer. The King Grizz
Thank
will
you.
come from his throne to tell us what the real rating of Speed Racer is.
This rating is brought to you by Kiss 93.
Yeah, this rating is brought to you by 93.1 Kiss FM. Iris and Grizz in the morning. Please listen Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
Okay, well, you know what? Because I've been saying this with my full fucking ass, with every single ounce of my being for the entire.
This is the radio. That's the beauty. You see what happens when you don't limit somebody's art and constraint.
I'm allowed to say anything.
Yeah.
I've loved this movie
Take
with
that,
my
Irish.
entire cunt for years.
Whoa.
You guys said so many worse things
Never
while we
said
were
this
watching the
was a
movie.
kids podcast. We did very much. That was mild compared to what we were saying.
So okay, because I've been saying this for so long, I'm definitely not gonna back down now. I can't. I
You
have.
just physically like, real quick, peel back the curtain. Like the second the movie was about to start, Grizz slams the pause button and says, like, this is the greatest thing you will ever see with your eyes ever. I've witnessed Jesus come back, and this will
When I-
change the foundation
When
of your
I
reality.
watched
Word
this
for
movie
word.
the first time as a greasy high school boy who was lifting weights every day and wanted to
Damn.
join the army,
Oh,
I
cool.
cried twice.
This film?
This film, this ridiculous movie, this
parts?
this neon light
It
laden
was so
fucking
bad.
scoop of fucking what's it called, the fruity ice cream. I'm losing myself here, but
Sherbet?
the sherbet. It is a fucking exploding neon covered irradiated cup of sherbet ice cream. It is ridiculous. It is over the top, and I have to, because again, I have believed in it since it first came out, since nobody would listen to me, because I remember even before I walked into that fucking theater, thought, I'm only watching this as a joke, because who the fuck makes a Speed Racer movie?
wow.
Nobody even knows what Speed Racer is. I learned about it through an episode of Dexter's fucking Laboratory.
Yeah.
So like, who knows what this is, right?
Dexter's Laboratory.
And so I say it's a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
This
Because
is cinema.
Pushing cinema forward?
and you know what? I remember walking out the theater and telling my friends, I was like, this is one of the most important movies in American cinema
Did they
history
ever
that
call
I
you
think
back?
I've ever seen. They're still my friends to this day.
Let me ask you something.
yeah.
I've actually, we've had a few people.
We have.
We've had a few people
Put
when
some
we
sad
made the
background
announcement that we're going to cover Speed Racer a few episodes back, that people were
Look at
like,
your hand.
that people were, he licked it.
He's looking at the note he wrote.
Yeah,
He's-
that people agree with you. Like, I mean, that there's people that are massive. That's why that cult following for me. Shout out to, I'll show you a picture right now that you'll get like super excited about. But there's a signed, and I'll try to share it on camera. But there's a signed Speed Racer script here in El Paso that a friend of a friend has. Shout out to Ian and Ian.
That's
the certificate of
amazing.
authenticity, and they sent me the
That's
picture.
fucking
I was gonna try to
cool.
bring it to the podcast, but we just couldn't coordinate in time. But the again, there's fans. There's true blue fans
Yeah.
out there.
Oh, my coworker from Starbucks.
That's
Shout
right.
out to Danny. She said she
Hey.
watches movies like
Like the poster.
at least once a week, and you know she doesn't call herself a cinephile, but she explores cinema and films. And then I was like, well, we do our request months. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna watch? And then she's like, well, there's only 2 films that anybody should be talking about, which is Pride and Prejudice,
Of course.
and zombies.
yeah, and Speed Racer. And then she's like, this is the list of pure cinema. Like, there is nothing else that compares. And then I was like,
I might have
Either you're
some
playing one or the
qualms
other.
with,
I
you
think
know.
the source material of both of those films are better than the
I know.
films.
No, but
I do not think the source material for Speed Racer is better than the movie. The anime is ridiculous and over the top. The movie is too. The movie is too. I give you that. But,
No,
the,
but
the anime is just
I remember,
cheesy
I
as
remember
hell.
when she recommended it, I'm like, you mean that kids film about the race car driver? And then she's like, yes, it changed me. I wasn't the same person after watching it. I'm like,
It's incredible.
are you serious? And then
Let
she's
me-
like, yeah.
Let me ask you: do you run into that? Have you ran into either friends or have you converted people to be like, I need to screen this for you?
I have converted a lot of people. I don't know if you guys remember back when Aaron and George's was doing their thing. There were 2 movies specifically that I've gotten to screen there
Pride
for my
and
birthday.
Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Speed Racer.
No, it was Death Proof the first year that I moved here, and then it was Speed Racer the year after.
the 2 films that he's come to review on this podcast.
Yes,
So there you go.
because they're 2 of my favorites, and I really, Death Proof. Of course, I wanted to show people because the unfortunate history with it being the double feature, and a lot of people forgetting that, like, you have to
Where
stay
it
to
comes
watch the
from.
next movie.
Yeah.
Most people didn't see it, and he hated it because I think he's got a big forehead, and he wants people to know his name, and nobody saw this, and so he was like, well, you know what, fuck this movie. But I thought
He
it was amazing.
abandoned it, dude.
He did. He abandoned it. But I think ever since I had first seen it, I thought it was fucking incredible, and I loved it, and I wanted to show more people.
I
like that.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
So, was Death Proof? Because I forgot our conversation on it.
We've done
Was
so many.
this the
It was all
second
developed
one?
by ChatGPT. That's why
Was
you
it
forgot
the second one in the double feature, or was it the
Yeah,
first one?
so it was the second movie in the double feature.
it
the first
was
one was
Planet
Planet
Terror.
Terror,
Yeah.
by
Oh,
Robert
okay.
Rodriguez.
Okay.
And then Death Proof was afterwards, but there was the intermission, then there was the fake commercials that came in between as well. And so a good amount of the audiences didn't know that they were supposed to stay for an extra movie
shit.
because this was so far removed from
And I bet
our drive-in theaters and stuff like that.
Damn.
And no, and I bet you anything, Quentin was like, I'm the closer, Robert. That my film is better, and
Dude,
that's why. Yeah,
and then nobody saw it because they didn't know to stay, and so very few people
Everyone
were
was
able
like,
to
man,
watch
Planet
it.
Terror
I bet you
was awesome.
part of the reason why Tarantino bought a movie theater Gorgeous movie theater.
Yeah.
It's
great,
to force
but
people to
It's
stay.
so to force people to watch Death Proof once a year.
I bet it's to like lock the door
just
and be
on loop.
like, nope.
Yeah.
No, with his ego, he doesn't show it. He doesn't tell people that it's a part of it. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I bought the Triple X, the Tarantino Triple X collection forever ago when I was really young, and then I sold it for drugs. Hey,
Oh, great.
Fun fact, everybody.
Hell yeah.
But
Oh,
for
that was your show on the
yeah,
board?
that was me. But I owned it, and it had. I think
Stuff.
at the time it had all of the films that he had currently released, and I think that ended with Inglourious Bastards. That was the last of the collection there. But one of them was Death Proof, and I loved that it was there because again, it was a film that I
He
couldn't really find anywhere
disowns.
else. Yeah, and it was the specific Blu-ray version that was the director's cut only. Because if you buy it, you can only buy it as the director's cut or the double feature with Planet Terror. Yeah, this is way off.
I have the Grindhouse version. I have the Grindhouse. That's how I choose to recognize that thing as it was intended. It's a Grindhouse double picture. They were very intentional. And I think he's a pussy for backing out of it. Like I think he's a pussy for being like nobody likes it. Fine, I don't like it
I
either.
hate it.
You
Yeah,
hearing this,
yeah.
Quentin?
Fucking pussy, man.
I agree though because I hate that he shat on it because it really is such a good film in his discography and his discography, his filmography. and I think I really do think that it did such a great job at being what it was, right, which was this homage to classic slasher films, but also this reminder of what a B cinema was of the way that it grew out of Grindhouse cinema and how it sort of grew from these very sort of pulp ideas and became something bigger. And his homage to that I thought was really cool. And nobody had ever seen it, so I had to show people. And it was the same with Speed Racer, where I had watched this movie that I initially thought was going to be a joke movie, and I wound up loving it. I wound up falling in love with it to the point where when I rewatch it, there are still tears that I shed watching Speed Racer because there are moments.
Where did you have a lot of people show up?
Yeah, we had a pretty solid amount of people, and there were people who had never seen the movie before or who had seen it once when it first came out,
And
and
how
they'd
many
never
walked
watched
out?
it again. None of them.
Because you locked the door?
Two chicks at the very beginning, but I don't think they were there for the movie, so I think they were just there to grab Aaron George's.
Nerds.
Who knows? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, I had a lot of people come up to me afterwards who were like, "I thought this was just a dumbass,
That's cool.
I thought it was
That's
going to be
cool.
stupid," and they really liked it. And again, I in no way am I sitting here being like this fucking ridiculous kids movie, changed the course of cinema history for the rest of the fucking
Well,
world.
You basically did 10 for 10.
But I do think that it does things that a lot of films have never done, and I do think it does things that movies still haven't done, maybe because they don't want to take the risk. Like that shot right there
I
was
love
one of
that
my
shot.
favorite shots. There are things that
That's
it does
such
to
a
transition
Tweety
in
Bird,
too.
Tweety
So
and
like,
Sylvester
yeah.
and
shot.
it's
Looking at
great
Tweety.
too because it starts on those guys while they're looking at the money, right? Then they get the eyes, then the horizon comes in, and that car sweeps in all in the same shot and
I
erases
got
them from
one
the
for you.
background. Yeah.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah, yes. Mad
Oh,
Max Fury Road
yeah.
is one that sits with this same feel, right? It's got this incredibly stylized visuals that don't exactly fit with the theme, right? Because it's not edited the way that a normal action movie is edited. And I think that was a part of what George Miller even said because he had his wife edit it, and he was like, "I wanted her to edit it because she doesn't edit action movies.
Right.
She edits like real movies, and that's why we get this very this." Sorry, guys, I love action movies, but
No,
that's
you're right.
That's
No,
why
yeah, yeah.
that's why we got such a different feel for that though. And it's the same thing with this. Had any other director, put this movie together,
agree.
it probably would have been such a bare bones, bare minimum thing. Or at the very least, they would have leaned further into these ridiculous
It would've
visuals.
been more cartoony.
Yeah,
like-
and we'd come back to it later and be like, God, this was a terrible
Terrible,
fucking movie. But the fact that we can come back to this one years later, even though it is this hyper stylized,
Yeah.
incredibly overstimulating visual mess sometimes, at the same time, it has so much fucking heart.
Yeah.
It has so much merit. There is so much in it that is gold. More so than when you watch a bad movie and you see like one scene where you're
Right.
like, holy shit, that
That's
shot is
gold.
crazy.
Look, at the end of the day, I think Speed Racer does something that is rare. At the end of the day, it's a good excuse to watch something at the movie theater,
Yes,
or to
yeah.
watch this just in the biggest screen and the best sound escape you can possibly watch it in. I think at the end of the day, it's one of those great excuses to say, "Hey, this thing's coming out. The kids could see it. We could see it. It's
Yeah.
at the movies in the best possible setting." I think just for that alone, it deserves to.
I got a question for Castro.
Question away.
Huh?
Do you feel like, I mean, with this one, it's edited on, or it's done on a lot of green screen, and you can tell. Do you feel like that messes with the actor's process and being able to like
Not if
get
you're
into
good.
Ha!
I mean, honestly,
Okay.
because this came out in 2008. What was one of the first like all green screen movies that came out? And I mean, granted, it's hated by a lot of people, but the Attack of the Clones, or fucking Attack of the Clones, the Star Wars, which
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. Star Wars Phantom Menace was one of those like almost entirely. I think it was entirely green screen. Yeah, and that movie I think does really great at sort of immersing people in this world.
I think they did well. But this is what throws me, and it's so far removed from my process as a director. I know it's far removed from your process as an actor, but it throws me so much with people who can actually master this style in the sense that, like, look, it's always thrown me. I'm a student of Robert Rodriguez's because of the indie situation, because of the Mexican American representation.
Yeah.
But the fact that
And the
this
film
man
school.
will fly in Robert De Niro for 3 days, get all his shit by himself, and then fly him the fuck out. But the performances are there. He gets the performances.
Yeah.
He gets them from the actors. Granted, he'll rarely ever have the two actors in the same fucking room together, which
Yeah.
throws me. But it works for some people, and I think it kind of works for Speed Racer. I don't know if,
Do you
as an
feel like-
actor,
You
was the
know what's
question?
how much
crazy?
does it fuck with your process?
A lot of them
The
were.
process of working with green screen?
Yeah, like I mean, but like fully. I mean, like if
I think it.
do you feel like one thing I've heard from you with a lot of like filmmakers, especially like when the premise is very abstract. I mean, Speed Racer, like if you were to say like, hey, I'm gonna really research this role and look into the source material, I don't feel like you're gonna get a lot, but you're also watching like a kid's film a bunch, and then you're trying to like turn that into yourself, and it's different. And I think at a certain point in time, you just have to trust. You just have to trust the director, trust the vision, say, I don't know what it's gonna be, but like I'm because you're not seeing any of it. You're not seeing the race, you're not seeing the intensity and the emotion. All that comes out in the edit, but I know that with unlimited trust, you just go in there, you're like, I'm gonna give the best performance I can, and then that's where it sits. But
Somebody on YouTube said the most important movie of the 21st century, and then it's all Speed Racer.
Listen. Watch if you get the chance. Patrick Willems
Oh,
breaks this down really, really well. If you ever get the chance, watch this video essay. He does a great job of talking about the ways that this film does things that other film has not yet, and the way it sort of paved the road for that. It's a solid video essay. I mean, granted, of course, I love fucking Speed Racer, but he does a much better job of using film history and using like real sort of film statistics to talk to you about the ways that this film is revolutionary, the ways that it actually did impact, and the ways that it's done things to change stuff. He does a great job of it, but definitely better than I
I
can.
love his Paddington shirt. So
Me too.
Acting.
No, I mean, I think there's cons and pros to it, but I think obviously you have to, what do you say, with the director? Trust his whole vision, right? But I feel like working alone in a green screen, I think you have a lot of work, a lot of like room to work with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because in acting, it's always like you got to be paying attention to the other person. You got to react to the
you
other
got to be
person.
listening to them.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of like, just saying yes and going with whatever the other actor's saying. But when you're alone, you kind of go into that fantasy without having to have those little breaks or the little like, like waiting for the other person.
I was listening.
I feel like there's a little bit more freedom.
I was listening to your point. I was listening to James Cameron on a director's roundtable for this season. And he talks about, they ask him, like, what I think the director of Son of Man of Valley was like, dude, I could never do what you do. Like, I could never walk into an empty warehouse and pretend that there's a world there and have the actors act. And he says, no, dude, he's like, you're looking at it all wrong. He's like, what we do, there's a general sense. We have a screen.
Right.
There's a basis of the world being built. And the virtual camera, you'll turn it around to see what's in the surroundings, right? And there's markers. He's like,
If it's a good director,
the great thing is there's no limitations. He's like, we don't have to wait. Hey, need 30 minutes to move that light over here.
Yes.
There's no,
Which with acting is really big because sometimes you're ready, but then 2 hours pass and you're like,
yeah.
You know what? I
the
want
energy
to
2 hours
pose
ago.
this to you, and it's something that I've thought about a lot. I argue, and I think this is why so many have succeeded here. But I argue that like acting on a green screen is no different than live theater, and I think that's why so many classically trained actors have such an ease shifting into working with green screen. Like if you look at some of the big movies that have come out, like Lord of the Rings, and some of the people who acted there. I mean, granted, a lot of those guys are just really good actors, but I think because so many of them, especially when you think about experimental live theater, where there's no sets, it's just characters, it's just a black box theater, it's just them with imagining whatever they need to imagine to immerse themselves in that. I'd argue that that's no different than running into a green screen.
But it's a marriage. It's a marriage of green screen and digital. because with,
Yeah.
with film cameras, you get 10 minutes at a clip. You know, you can't go more than 10 minutes. It's really 9 something after the feed. So like with
true.
with digital, just keep fucking going.
Yeah.
But again, in that side by side documentary, some actors were like Robert Downey Jr. is the famous story of like, he's like, dude, I can't go to my trailer and get my shit together, and that he started peeing in water bottles and leaving them around the set as his form of
I do remember
protest
that, yeah.
because he couldn't stop. He's like, dude, we're just going take after take after take, and some actors don't like that. Some actors need the beats in between. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a
No,
interesting
that's what I'm saying. There's
exploration.
cons and pros to it. I mean, obviously, sometimes
Pros and cons.
pros
What's
and
wrong?
cons.
So it's the
pros
same
Did we
and
all
cons.
think that? Did everybody have that same moment? We were
My
like,
bad,
it's pros
my
and
bad.
cons.
Who cares?
My bad.
Sorry, go on, Gus.
No, but yeah, I mean, obviously, there's pros and cons. To working with someone there or you by yourself, it's
It's almost more
Yeah.
important
Is there-
on like the process is less important. The collaboration is more important. Like if you have a good director there, you have a good script.
I mean,
it
you
could
have to have a
be-
good director in any
Yeah.
any situation.
Is there
But
any
in
advice you
green
would
screen.
give for somebody who says, I'm going to be going on this shoot, I'm a superhero, but it's mainly going to be me in a weird costume and green screen? Like, what do you recommend just so I can kind of prep for it? Like, obviously, like, show up knowing everything on the script.
Yes, that's a big thing for
That-
me.
yeah,
You don't know how many
like-
sets I've been to where they just don't know their lines, and
They
it's
look
like,
at you-
how do you not know your lines and you know what the
Character and
the
everything.
feeling of this whole
Yeah.
movie is?
So
That-
obviously
that's
know
pet
that,
peeve.
but is there any other kind of like tips at least for
If he's trying to be a superhero in a green screen,
yeah, all green screen, there's no sets, you're not going to see anything. You're not-
probably my first advice would be like, remember when you were a kid and you were just in front of a mirror trying
Mm.
to play a character you just saw? Try to connect to that.
Yeah. Just doing voices in front of a
Yeah,
mirror,
yeah,
you know?
because that's basically gonna be you with a director giving you direction.
And let's face it, I mean, with an ensemble cast and something like this, Emil Hirsch didn't have to do a ton. I mean, let's face it. We talked about that earlier in the episode today. That
Yeah.
like it's a genre picture by all intents and purposes. It's a genre picture.
see where
There's a
you're going, yeah.
built-in situation to it. He shows up. What's the thing they say on Entourage? It's a genre picture. Shia LaBeouf has to show up, act scared, look at the camera so girls want to fuck him, and then that's it. It's a built-in situation.
Right.
Emil Hirsch didn't do a ton of acting in this.
Yeah.
So green screen acting. I mean, John Goodman probably did more acting in this.
And
than
dude
Emil
killed
Hirsch.
it. He did so good.
But yeah,
You
That's
know what's interesting about this one too? I know like most green screen, it sort of has that reputation for people not being on screen together and not like actually.
Yeah, that's
fucking
why
ridiculous.
I laughed. Fucking Ricky with the Googles.
I can't see Ricky. You gotta zoom in a little bit more. Bro.
It says it's almost always
got a
pros and
wonky eye.
cons and not cons and pros.
Fuck. No, zoom out, bro. I don't want to see that.
Google search.
Zoom back out.
It is an interesting exploration. for
I,
sure.
I was gonna say though, I think it's interesting because in this film, if you know the way that they shot it, I think I was telling you guys, right? There were special rigs that were made to sort of capture people in certain ways because they wanted everything to have that, you know, instead of having the depth, they wanted everything to feel flat. They wanted everything to have that focus. So one of the things that they did was everybody was on set, and a lot of those scenes where like everybody should probably be in a different depth of field, they shot them all in layers. So they had everybody on set consistently. They would shoot them in layers so that they could put that all over each other.
That's
and
right.
Yeah, and have it all feel as crisp and focused as it should feel.
I liken it when I was reading that. I was it's interesting. I was likening it to Walt Disney. Really was the one who created this format
with animation.
the multi surface camera.
The Maltese Falcon.
Not the Maltese Falcon. They had I
Maltese
forget
Ice
what it was
Kings.
called. It's a multi layered camera where basically, as opposed to the camera shooting like this, it's shooting from above down, and you have layers of the illustrations.
like an
Yeah.
onion.
So like it's like the first layer is a tree.
It's like an
and the
onion.
second layer it's like
It's
an
a
onion.
hill. There's
It's
a
hill,
cloud,
it's the
a rainbow.
animals, it's the
Yes.
characters.
And then in the middle is the actual animated character, and
The
it all looks like it's got
layerograph,
depth.
they
Yeah.
called it.
no, but that's exactly what they did. Essentially, the Wachowskis.
Layerograph.
These are the cameras that they filmed on, and then they
Sonys.
they had a whole bunch of other stuff going on as well, where they were trying to.
Oh,
get
they had
all
a
in.
real car.
See, I guess there's enough realness in front of them that they can work off of, right?
And honestly, there are so many shots in the movie, and again, I see this more and more as I've watched it more and more as I've grown up with it. There are so many shots in the movie that are so crisp and so clean, like you can tell they're using real assets, and then they're throwing the entire world behind it. But the thing is, like, they are doing such a good job with the way that they pay attention to how everything exists in the world. Like, there's so
Agreed.
much light in this film,
Human
and
gimbal.
there's a lot of like really beautiful moments where you can see light coming off of, like, reflecting off of the cars the exact way it should be, with all of this fucking neon city that they have going on, right? Like, there are all these really great things that they did to immerse you, and some of it, yeah, it looks cheesy and way over the top and way oversaturated, but there are a lot of moments where they really bring you into it, and they allow you to sort of feel some of that, like, that charm and sincerity of like a real movie. Like there's a scene that we mentioned a little bit that had sort of the noir feel, and it's when they're talking in the rain in the car about whether they should go to the Casa Cristo race or not, and it's just shot such a different way, but it still has that sort of oversaturated, like, CGI feel, but it just looks cool. It feels a little bit more like Sin City, right?
Isn't that what they call the Matrix? Was like neo noir, right? It's exactly what that film kind of created, right?
Yeah.
So of course these guys have created that genre, or that's pretty good. Inspired that genre, would use those tactics in their film.
You know, it's also the same in your cinematography. You're composing everything knowing vaguely what the final image is going to be. And I mean, we had this experience recently with our last short, where there's going to be the actor in place interacting with the environment, but we had to have a very clear understanding of what the environment was. So when you're lighting around it, they don't feel out of place. And I think that that's what they perfected here, where no one ever felt out of place. I mean, sure, they were very, like, dramatically lit, like even in these moments right here where it's like he's lit perfectly, but they knew the colors, the hues, the tones, like the way they were going to be transitioning into places. So they could play into all that. That then when they have these layerings, or like right there where both of them shove into focus and they're in an elevator, they're able to really feel connected in that space. And that's something special. That's something that I think, again, if we're talking about green screen films, this one has to be at somewhere near the apex,
for sure,
you know, the mastery of what that is.
Definitely. Speed Racer, ladies and gentlemen. What an exploration! Yeah,
I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad.
I'm glad you guys did too. I think it's a great film.
You converted me.
Nice.
I will force this on my girlfriend.
I think Meg would like it.
You watch it and you like it.
Yes.
Let us know if you've seen Speed Racer, and if you haven't, go watch it. Let us know if you like it. Comment. Let us know what you think about this.
Fight me about it.
Did we rate it too low? Did we rate it too high?
I rated it too high. You all rated it just right.
Let us know what you think about Speed Racer. Is it one of your favorite films? Did it advance the medium forward, or do you just have a good time watching it? I would imagine that it's also.
Or did you cry?
It's also
like Grizz.
I cried.
I think it's
cry.
going to become a generational thing. I think that the cult following of it, those guys are having kids now at this age, so they're showing it to their kids.
Yeah.
You know, so it might
It's almost
be, might be
20.
something. So, Grizz, thank you for bringing this to us, man. Give it up for
Grizz,
man.
man.
Give it up for Grizz.
Thank you all for being so open-minded.
Dude, always
No. We love this. We
always
love
love
this.
talking cinema with you, brother. And I think Speed Racer is something that people should definitely give a shot and explore just all of the things that it's got going for it.
What he said.
We can't wait to see what else you have to bring for us, Grizz, because
I got a few things.
we'll keep doing request episodes if you still have the movie.
Of course. The next one we're gonna watch, Fresh. You guys ever seen that movie?
Fresh.
Fucking Fresh. It's the movie about the little kid living in the hood. He's like he's a chess player, and he becomes a drug dealer, but he uses his, like, you know, ridiculously mastery to basically manipulate. And when you watch it, it plays out like a chess game.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air remake? You remember how?
No.
Oh, I was like, okay.
That one's called Bel Air.
Fresh,
okay.
Fresh is an incredible movie. I would love for you guys to watch it. Samuel L. Jackson is in it because, of course, he's been in everything. Yeah, it's
that guy.
that is not it. That's a Hulu show.
Fresh.
Let's say.
Anyways, yeah, we'll
It's good.
Fresh.
We'll explore it.
94?
Next,
I think that one.
Wait, is it a new one or an old one?
It's an old one, yeah. So it's 94. Yeah,
Oh, okay, so it's
that
94.
probably was it, yeah. But all right, yeah, no. Thank you guys for bringing me here.
Awesome.
Thank you
You're
for
awesome,
enjoying
brother.
this film
Love
with me. I
having
love
you.
you
You are
guys.
awesome.
next week we jump into Oscar picks. In this former winners for the Oscars as we gear up to Oscars. But the Oscars were announced today as of the time of this recording, and the nominations are out. We'll have that conversation as well.
This does drop in a couple days. Do we want to list off the nominations?
Yeah,
really quick?
let's stuff at least Best
Not
Picture.
all of the nominations.
No, just Best Picture.
Oh, sure. No, it's because we're gonna talk about that in length, in the next few weeks. But what I wanted to note more is that, like, we always have this tradition. Each of us pick in our respective quote unquote categories of best of Oscar winners, directing, cinematography, acting, and editing. And then we jump into, like, our best pictures for that.
And
this year.
I think we wrap up the month and kick off March with our recap episode, which we've done for a couple of years now. So the recap episode will include
The Secret Agent, Bugonia, Marty Supreme, Train Dreams, F1, weird, Sinners, Frankenstein,
the same thing.
Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sentimental Value. Those are the 10 Best Picture nominees
Why
of
is
2026.
Bugonia not getting any love?
Dude,
Frankenstein's taking it all.
Quickly,
love
I
it.
screened Bugonia and I screened Sentimental Value in the same sitting, and like
I haven't seen Sentimental Value.
Sandra just like had like Sentimental Value for me, just broke me, man. And,
Really?
I love that picture so much, and it hit home in so many different ways. If you're an artist, if you're a filmmaker, it's gonna hit you, and if you come from a dysfunctional family, it's gonna hit you even more. So like it's heavy, but it's amazing. But Bugonia, we watched Bugonia first, and Sandra, my wife, was like drained emotionally
love it. I
with Bugonia
love
that
it.
she couldn't even handle Sentimental Value. She's like, I'm going to sleep. I'm so like, what the fuck was that? But it's interesting. We'll have that conversation. But yeah,
Yeah,
Bugonia's.
Have you guys watched it?
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
What do you think it could win? What do you think it has?
Nothing.
You know, I don't think it's going to win anything
Damn
because
it.
Frankenstein has taken everything. Frankenstein's taken all of
I
them.
agree
right?
with you.
Frankenstein would get nominated
I
for
agree with
three
you.
things.
Frankenstein's going to win it all.
I would
All
love it to
three
get-
things I got nominated for.
Frankenstein is going to
Dude,
surprise,
the
upset
Dolan
everybody,
didn't
and
even
it's
get
going to win all
nominated
of the
for
16
directing.
nominations that Sinners got.
I'm
Wow,
with
even
them.
if it got none of those nominations.
It's a rare
Calling
occasion.
it
It's
right
the
now.
Argo thing all over again. I don't think Del Toro got nominated for directing, but it got nominated for Best Picture,
that's
which
bullshit.
never makes any fucking sense.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
But here we are. We'll have these conversations in length about the Academy
Well,
Awards. that are
Carlos,
coming.
that kind of has to happen. There's only 5 directing nods and 10 Best Picture nods.
But I mean,
What the
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the heliante?
What the hell? No, there's this big argument. Like Ben Affleck always gets like shunned in Hollywood because it's like, dude, you directed Argo, which fucking Best Picture of the year. It literally won Best Picture that year, and then didn't get a directing nod. So like, what kind of
It
sense
don't make
does that
sense.
ever
It
make?
don't make no sense.
Anyways, just something to note for the upcoming weeks. Forgive me if I change my mind. I picked 3, and I kind of have these guys pick it from those 3. But I think we're gonna do Midnight Cowboy for next week's episode.
I
think,
wanna be a cowboy.
I think I have my
baby.
pick. Is it Black Orchid?
Huh?
Huh? Say it with your chest.
For cinematography?
Yeah, the oh my goodness, it was the one that I was telling you about. I thought it was something Orchid.
next week.
We'll talk about it next week. I don't know what you're talking
Tune
about.
in next
man.
week to find out.
Next week, tune in. Oscar
Cowboy.
cast winners, and then we'll jump into our Oscar episodes. Thank you guys. Thank you to McMahon, Grizz, for coming on the pod again.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for tuning to the Watch Our Film Podcast. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Inspector Detector suspected
Inspect
foul play.
deck.
Love you guys.
Thank you, Grizz.
Thank you guys.